Perfect. Okay, my name is Amy Hampel. I'm a senior, can you hear me? Urban Development Specialist at the Asian Development Bank, and I will be your facilitator today. I'm thrilled to be part of this Pacific Wash webinar. It's actually very perfect timing. Our webinar session comes right after World Toilet Day, celebrated on the 19th of November. Yes, you heard that right. World Toilet Day, a day that reminds us how vital sanitation is for health and dignity. Today's webinar, entitled Taking Stock, highlights from Pacific Wash Technical Assistance, will look back at ADB's Wash TA, what it has achieved since its inception during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much for joining us. So throughout the session, I'll share some interesting icebreaker questions and fun polls, so keep an eye out. Before we start, I'd like to request everyone to please introduce yourself in the chat, your name, your organization, because we'd love to know where you're coming from. So please use the chat box and put your name, your organization. We'd love to hear where you're coming from. A few housekeeping rules before we start. We want to make sure that everything runs smoothly. We've got friends from across the Pacific and beyond. So if you can, please rename your Zoom name to include your name and your organization. For example, Amy Hampel, ADB. Please do that. And as I said earlier, if you haven't done it yet, please briefly introduce yourself in the chat. We'd like to have a very active chat box today. We'd love to know who's joining us today. Please keep your microphone muted unless you're speaking, so that we can all hear the speaker clearly. And if you have any questions or comments at any time, please feel free to use the chat box and we'll keep an eye on it. This session is being recorded and we'll share the link of this and other webinars afterwards. So grab your coffee, relax, and let's make this webinar interactive and fun. World Toilet Day was celebrated last 19 November. And fun fact, did you know that proper sanitation can prevent at least 432,000 deaths every year caused by diarrheal diseases? 432,000. That's a lot of deaths we could prevent. That's why World Toilet Day matters. The WASH TA team celebrated World Toilet Day across the Pacific in creative ways. In the Solomon Islands, the TA joined a UNICEF-organized commemoration in Honiara. Meanwhile, the Water Authority of Fiji shared a fantastic wastewater video developed jointly with ADB's WASH TA. And that's not all. More short videos are coming soon on topics like rainwater harvesting and fixing water leaks. So keep an eye out for those. Okay, I'd like to introduce the webinar schedule. Here's what's coming up for us in the coming hour. We'll hear opening remarks from our two amazing leaders, CEO Pitolao Lucia of Pacific Water and Wastewater Association, and from Senior Sector Director Norio Saito of the Asian Development Bank. Then we'll hear 5 inspiring stories and lessons from our WASH champions across the Pacific. We'll hear from Bronwyn, from William, Ramona, Georgina, and Lopetti. Please note to the speakers, we only have a little over 10 minutes for each presentation, and I'll give you a gentle 1-minute reminder before the time is up. So then we'll do a quick poll after that, so please stick around. All right, so first up, we have Pitulao Lucia Sefo Liao, CEO of the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association. Lucia has been a driving force in strengthening water and sanitation services across the region. Thanks so much for joining and providing the opening remarks. Lucia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Amy. It's really great to be here, this last webinar for the WASH project TA. And so talofa lava, colleagues and friends, and welcome one and all to this final Pacific WASH webinar under the ADB Pacific WASH Technical Assistance Project. For the past 4 to 5 years, we have had We have been able to hold these webinars through a collaboration between ADB and BWWA with our member utilities. We have been fortunate to have had this collaboration with ADB. The webinar series over the years served as a regional platform to advance knowledge and learning in utility operations and the broader WASH sector. It has been a useful avenue, not only for sharing of knowledge and experiences, but also for building a network of industry and utilities community that shares similar challenges and solutions. Today, we take stock to share and reflect some highlights from across the region of how this WASH TA has supported key areas across customer engagement, water safety planning, and asset management. So welcome everyone who has joined. And before I hand over back to ADB, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank, first of all, the ADB and especially the staff who have dedicated a lot of their time to this program's webinar series, making sure the topics reflected the gaps in knowledge that needed to be shared and getting the right speakers and panelists to speak. And last but not least, our BWWA membership for supporting this series, but also by being present. One can never learn too much or enough. And may I also take the opportunity to wish you all God's peace and love for a cyclone-free festive season. Thank you. Soifua.
Thank you very much, Lucia, and that we receive your greetings of and wishes of a cyclone-free season very, very much in the Philippines. We see the chat is also very active. We can see Sylvia from Water PNG. Welcome, Sylvia. And also Catherine Weber from Balina, Australia. Thank you so much for joining in. Next, we'll hear from Norio Saito, Senior Sector Director of ADB's Water and Urban Development Sector Office. For decades, Norio has championed water resilience and innovation in Asia and the Pacific. Thanks so much for joining and providing the opening remarks. Over to you, Norio-san.
Thank you, Amy, and very good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the final webinar in the Pacific WASH webinar series supported by the ADB Pacific WASH Technical Assistance. We have the pleasure of co-hosting today's webinar once again with our long-standing partner, the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association, or PWWA. Let me congratulate PWWA and actually all of us for the successful Pacific Water Conference and the Pacific Water Ministerial Forum, which took place in Solomon Islands in August this year. I had the pleasure of joining this fruitful event and witnessed very strong partnership among all the stakeholders and the progress being made in delivering safe water and sanitation to all in the Pacific countries. I would like to thank colleagues from PWWA, utilities, and government agencies across the Pacific, along with our development partners and colleagues from ADB, for joining today's session. So today we'll learn from Pacific utilities, the successes and challenges, and celebrate achievements brought about with the support of ADB technical assistance. So this TA supported demand-driven initiatives, working across water, sanitation, and hygiene behavior change communication in public, community, household, and school settings. Today, we shed a light on how the TA responded to utility priorities with capacity building, mentoring, and targeted technical inputs to support their own agendas, needs, and priorities, all with the aim of improving sustainable service delivery. We'll hear directly from 4 of our utility partners, Tonga Water Board, Samoa Water Authority, Solomon Water, and Total Vai and the Cook Islands. ADB remains committed to building a water-secure and resilient Pacific and strengthening relationships with utilities and governments. There are record high Asian Development Fund resources from ADB to the Pacific countries during 2025 to 28, and with a strategic focus on regional cooperation and climate actions, we are well placed to collectively turn water and wastewater challenges into opportunities. Drawing lessons and inspiration from today's presentations, we can all contribute to the goal of every person across the Pacific having access to safe and sustainable water and sanitation services, which will lay the foundation for healthier lives and a more prosperous future. Thank you for joining us today once again, and best wishes for a very fruitful and engaging discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Norio-san. Thank you very much. Today is a celebration indeed of the successes and challenges, and we are very eager to celebrate the achievements of ADB's WASH TA in the Pacific. But before we do that, it's time for our group photo. I'd like to request everyone to please turn on your cameras, bring out your best smiles or your favorite WASH prop. Let's take a group photo to celebrate the WASH TA. Kate will be taking over for the group photo. Kate?
Okay, thank you all for being so responsive as well and turning your cameras on. Oh, Lindsay, I like your wash prop. That's really great. The water droplet there. Okay, so we've got 2 screens of participants as we have about 50 people with us today. So I will take one screen and then I will do the second screen. So if everyone's ready for a photo, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then I will move to the second screen. All right, make sure you've got your props and your smiles. 3, 2, 1. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for that. Back to you, Amy.
Thank you all so much. Thanks, Kate, also. So, to start the celebrations, we have our first speaker from Australia. We have Bronwyn. Bronwyn Powell is a dynamic pracademic, passionate about turning evidence into action. She empowers water professionals with the skills and leadership to drive change. Bronwyn leads the Pacific WASH TA as WASH advisor and consultant team leader and brings expertise across integrated WASH and JED-C. She also shares her knowledge as adjunct associate professor at Griffith University's International Water Center. Bronwyn will share how ADB's WASH TA initiative improved health outcomes and strengthened hygiene practices across 14 countries in the Pacific. Bronwyn, take it away.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Amy. Just get organised here. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm joining from Meanjin, Brisbane, where I'm on the lands of the Yagara and Turrbal people. And as is the custom in Australia, I take this opportunity to acknowledge their leaders, past, present, and emerging, and their custodianship of the waters and the lands I'm joining from. So, the strengthening WASH behaviour change in the Pacific technical systems. It's been a capacity development and policy advice project that's been running for 5 years with a budget just under 5 million. So right now is a good chance for us to take an opportunity to reflect on where we started and what's been achieved. So the project itself was designed at the very outset of COVID and had the impact objective of improving health outcomes in the Pacific by reducing disease transmission. And it's a regional technical assistance, meaning that it incorporated all 14 Pacific developing member countries of ADB. It had 2 key outcomes, or has 2 key outcomes, targeting improving WASH practices in households and public areas, and also strengthening the WASH enabling environment, which is the systems and services that facilitate water access, wastewater supply services, and those are essential for good hygiene practices. Over the implementation time, we've had over 20 consultants across the region, international and national, and I'd like them now, if they're online, to please raise their hands so people can acknowledge their contributions as a member of the team. Also to acknowledge the ADB project team leaders who've been involved over the time frame. So Amy, of course, also Maria Tran, Carl Gowling, Vivian Castro-Waldridge, and I think if you're online, please raise your hand so people can also acknowledge your contributions. So when the TA started, it was the early stages of COVID-19 pandemic, and there was rapidly changing restrictions and knowledge of the virus. So interventions at that time did focus on distributing personal protective equipment, mostly to utilities, hand washing campaigns, and installing public hand washing facilities. With our utility colleagues, we started off many of our support activities with water safety plans, because they are the avenue in which to identify key risks to sustainable supply. Later in the TA, as restrictions eased and the pandemic became less of a priority, and we focused on a wider range of diseases that good wash practices prevent, we took a more demand-driven approach to support, working with ministries of health, schools, utilities, coordination bodies, and non-government organisations on sector strengthening, small-scale interventions, still wash behaviour change campaigns, but across a much wider range of behaviours: on-site sanitation behaviours, water conservation, rainwater tank management, and menstrual hygiene, to name a few. With our service provider partners, we took an integrated utility management approach, which included things like business continuity plans, asset management planning, and customer engagement. We have also had a knowledge and learning component running throughout the technical assistance, which has included this webinar series, but also technical support to the PWA conference, reports, studies, surveys, trainings, and I'll share more on that soon. Our areas of intervention support have also gone across all of these different countries. You can see here the areas that we have been working in each of those countries, some more intensively with utilities and some more on sector coordination. We've had over 70 distinct interventions in that time frame. And just to highlight on two of those, which won't be presented by my utility colleagues, I am highlighting WaterWise One-Top campaign with our water P&G colleagues. This is a campaign that addressed non-revenue water, bill payment, leak detection and leak reporting, as well as hand washing with soap. It ran in Port Moresby, and it over 2023 and 2024 included a mass media campaign across physical and digital channels. That was videos, bus wraps, newspapers, social media, and in-person activities. There's a number of examples of customer communications that developed to the local context. So included this one was particularly interesting because we took a positive motivational message about doing the right thing, being a WaterWise One-Top. This was about, I'd like to acknowledge now people contributing to that, which was Honk Kiap, Jennifer Carley, Julia Wader, and Sinead Lahane. Also, in terms of the water P&G, they were very happy with this campaign and do continue when they have the opportunity to continue it with their residential customers as one of many approaches to reduce non-revenue water. For our next example, I wanted to draw on was in the Cook Islands. So Clean Water for All Cookies. This was a collaboration across the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Cook Islands, Red Cross, and ADB. And it started as a hygiene awareness campaign, which was primarily targeting children, but also was shared more widely. And it helped identify that there were actually gaps in access to good facilities in the schools. So from there, Ines Asene, our national consultant, undertook a full assessment of those facilities in the schools and created an inventory. We engaged a local supplier to fill those gaps, and in doing so raised all of the schools' standards to meet New Zealand standards, which is an excellent achievement. But a really important lesson through the whole process was the time and negotiations required in the memorandum of understanding between all parties, because that was essential in ensuring that the operation and maintenance would be handled after the handover of the facilities, and that there was handover agreements in place, understood by all right at the beginning. So if we reflect now on what has actually been achieved over the time frame, we've reached over 1 million people with wash behaviour change campaigns, and 35,000 households have reported improved wash practices. There's 2,800 people accessing new hand washing facilities, 45 new hand washing facilities. And for the work with our service providers, we have done assessments or those areas of support that I mentioned with 14 different utilities, and 11 of those have reported at an endline survey improved knowledge, capacity and services to respond to pandemics, as well as improvements to sustainable operations. And we have over 30 knowledge products. What are some of the lessons and highlights? Well, flexible demand-driven approaches can ensure that those initiatives that we've pursued responded to the local context. So the long-term nature of our support over 5 years did enable the assistance, advice and resources to be provided as needed, when needed to partners, so that it matched their priorities and their timing and wasn't purely driven by project timelines. It also enabled it to match the absorptive capacities of those utilities in particular. We also saw that the approaches we took enhanced and were able to complement existing initiatives. So be those investments from ADB, other multilaterals or government. We're also, and we'll see an example from Solomon Islands coming up, able to demonstrate the benefits of where utilities partner with non-government organisations. And we see that particularly example working in informal settlements in the Solomon Islands. We're also able to demonstrate models that can be scaled and replicated and really strengthen sustainable service delivery in the Pacific and the particular challenges the Pacific faces and contexts. We're also able to demonstrate ADB investments can successfully include behaviour change communication campaigns, as well as community and household components. I'd just like to leave you with our knowledge products, and we'll make sure to put all these links in the chat box. You can see all of our campaign videos on our YouTube channel, watch a previous webinar series across many, many different topics relevant to our Pacific utilities, and also a number of reports and blogs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bronwyn. TA 6551 is indeed one of those really more agile and flexible TAs that we had, successfully pivoting from a COVID response TA to something that is demand-driven. And the TA has achieved a lot under your help. Congratulations for that. So we're going to a poll this time. Please put in the chat. What do you think is the most common reason people skip hand washing? Is it forgetfulness, A? B, there's no soap available or no water available? And C, in a hurry. What do you think is the most common reason people skip hand washing? Forgetfulness, no soap available or no water available? Or C, they are in a hurry? Please put your answers in the chat box, and there's no right or wrong answer. I just have to say, we'd like to just get your opinion for this. All right. Our next speaker is from the Cook Islands. We have William Tuivaga. William is a seasoned Cook Islands public service professional with nearly 30 years experience in policing, emergency management, climate adaptation, and utility leadership. Starting as a police officer, he became an emergency operations trainer, a role that he still delivers today. After 11 years at the Prime Minister's office, he moved to the utility sector, leading HR and safety at Te Aponga Uira before joining To Tatuvai in 2022. Beyond work, he chairs a community project building a clinic for mothers and babies in Ruawu, Arorangi. William will tell us how TTV is setting new standards for water services and customer trust. Let's hear it from you, William.
Yeah, thank you very much. And kia ora from a very, very warm and dry Cook Islands. Beautiful, beautiful weather on this side here. Okay, now this presentation that I'll give this afternoon will look at growth in terms of development here on Rarotonga. Then we'll look at Rarotonga rainfall. From there, we'll move to Rarotonga infrastructure upgrades, and then of course the ADB support to the Office of Tō Tātou Vai, which is the Rarotonga Water Authority. In that space, I'll be looking at two documents which ADB helped us to develop over the span of some months. The first one is the customer agreement, and the second one is a connection code. I'll be looking at the situation before these documents came into place, the rationale for having these documents in play, as well as post what is happening now in regards to how TTV is using these documents and how our customers are also referencing these documents as well. So the first slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so just Rarotonga is on the move. We have a growing tourism industry. This year, we are hoping to break the 200,000 visitors per year. We also, because of that, we also have a growing construction sector as well, where there's a lot of motels, hotels being built, also private homes being adjusted to turn them into these small Airbnb operations, as well as long-term. The long-term rentals is because of workers coming in to help us service the tourism industry. So even the workers need places to stay as well. It's the next one is to look at infrastructure development as a result of this growth, and also agriculture, and then of course our national and international sports events such as the Rugby Sevens, which brings in a lot of tourism here in the Cook Islands. We also have dental tourism, where customers from outside are flying into the Cook Islands for cheap dental care. Right now, we have what we have is the Waka Eiva tournament, and that brings in very close to over 500 new people to the island. This is on top of our basic tourism trends. So the Waka Eiva is the outrigger canoeing tournament that we have over here. So there's been a lot of growth in that space, and in all of that, everyone needs water. So this is where TTV comes into play then. Next slide, please. Right, just a bit of background. Rarotonga, we receive approximately between 2,000 to 2,500 millimeters of water. We have our cyclone season, which is from November to April. In that cyclone season, or in that 6-month space, we receive approximately 2/3 of this annual rainfall. So roughly about 1,666 millimeters, or about 278 millimeters in the month. Now, in our dry period, which is what we've just come through from May to October, it's approximately 1/3 of the annual rainfall. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, from 2016 to 2020, our Cook Islands government upgraded its water infrastructure, a part of which was built in the early 1900s under the New Zealand administration. And then, of course, this project, the Te Matawai project, was one of the biggest government projects since the construction of the Rarotonga International Airport back in the late 1960s to 1970. 1974 was when the airport was opened. So the Te Matawai water infrastructure project that looked at putting in place new inner and outer ring mains, also the trunk main upgrades to our 12 intakes, as well as the construction of 10 water treatment plants across Rarotonga. 2 sites have no treatment capacity right now. We actually have 12 intakes. 10 of them have treatment capacity. The other 2 is just straight raw water. Next slide, please. So, looking at the 2 documents, when we came into play in 2021, when Totato Vai was basically came into operation, there were a couple of things, after doing an assessment and looking at the things that that was prioritized and needed within the water sector here on Rarotonga, especially with a new organization, which was basically still in the incubator. So moving from the incubator to crawling, running, and then growth from there. We looked at two key documents. The first one was the customer agreement. The customer agreement sets out the terms under which we provide water services to our customers. It also has a look at the customer's obligation to pay for these services and their rights in the space of grievance, and also the obligations, including any disputes with us. The second one was the connection code. This we refer to as the code. This was prepared to assist TTV or Totato Vai in ensuring that the work we did, or that installations involving its water network and reticulation system was done with good practice and complied with standard installations, which is adopted by similar jurisdictions in the region, basically New Zealand standards and Australian standards. But at the same time too, we made sure that these two documents maintain the Rarotonga context. So these two areas that needed work at the time, we approached ADB to seek their assistance, and our request result in technical support provided to Totato Vai. Yep. So just looking at the our standards before. Now, before we had these two documents, the customer agreement and the connection code, there was really no formal customer agreement and connection code or clear rules in place. Basically, you could just take a connection from the road, run it into one property, and then it'll go out the back of that property to the next door neighbor's pig pen, and then on to maybe some farming space down the road. And that affected the supply in many ways, especially when it came down to pressure. So water connections were installed with little to no planning or oversight. Single connections, as I was saying, passed through multiple properties, creating unsafe and unmanageable setups. So at the time, one connection could be serving several customers, making it impossible to monitor usage, leaks, or responsibility. On top of that, we also had unqualified individuals acting as plumbers, resulting in inconsistent, unreliable, and unsafe installations. So basically, back then was the cheaper we could get the job done, that was the norm at the time. So in this, we're looking at a huge behavioral change. And this is the space that TTV really needed to focus on at the very beginning. Next slide, please. So why is it important to have an arrangement and a code? It ensures safe, consistent, and compliant with compliant type installations. It protects both the network as well as the customer through clear responsibilities and expectations. Managing expectations is something that we will continue to be faced with as we progress. It also prevents unsafe or illegal connections that jeopardize reliability, as well as improves the network efficiently, leak detection, and billing accuracy as well. It also supports the long-term sustainability of water services for all our customers. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of what does it look like now? It's only been less than 6 months, but this is what we're starting to see: clear rules and processes when going forward. Sometimes queries coming from the public. Our team uses the standard as a policy to provide documented and standardized responses. So clear rules and processes make connections easier to manage and approve. The next one is standardized installation requirements, reduce faults, rework and unsafe setups. It also simplifies leak detection, where each customer has a defined connection point, making issues easier to isolate and repair, as well as better network reliability because because improper multi-property connections have been removed.
One
It's
minute,
also more
William.
efficient. Yes. Yep.
1 minute,
Okay.
please. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, please. 1 minute.
Okay. Yes. Right. So, simplifies leak detection. It's more efficient in the use of staff time as well. Improves data accuracy, including clearer consumption patterns. So, next slide, please. Coming down. So right now, customers feel safer knowing that installations meet consistent professional standards, clear responsibilities, reducing disputes between neighbors and even between customers as well as TTV ourselves. Professional image for TTV, where TTV is seen as a modern, accountable, and customer-focused water utility. It also protects the customer's investments as well. So, and then my last slide, there are also other works that ADB has assisted TTV in. However, for the purpose of this presentation, my focus was on these two key documents as well. I take this opportunity to thank the whole team, everyone that worked with us up front, as well as those in the background, and the technical people that came through this support to assist TTV. There is still more work ahead for us. However, for us, we will keep on progressing carefully. Otherwise, from us here in Rarotonga, a big mea takimato from the TTV team to ADB for their ongoing support to our organisation, and also for helping us strengthen the sustainability for water here on Rarotonga. So thank you very much. Kia ora e ke manuia to all that are joining us in the presentations this afternoon.
Thank you, Mate Takimata William, and thank you very much. It's warming to the heart of ADB to hear how much we have supported, and we remain committed to Cook Islands, to TTV, as well as the other utilities in our 14 DMCs in the Pacific. Let's hear it from the audience. What's one thing that makes you trust a water utility or a sanitation service provider? Is it communication? Is it a quick response to issues? Is it fair billing? What's the one thing that makes you trust a water utility or service provider? Please put your answer, there's no wrong answer, in the chat box. Clear communication, quick response to issues, or fair billing. We'll share a few during the discussion. Now let's move on to Samoa. From Samoa, we have Ramona Taipuleono Sio. She's an asset management technician with Samoa Water Authority, where she's helped shape asset management plans and business cases since early 2024. Passionate about community engagement and sustainability, Ramona is committed to building a resilient, efficient, and inclusive wash sector for Samoa and the Pacific through smart asset management. Ramona will walk us through their asset management journey. Very interesting. Turning data into smarter decisions for water services. Over to you, Ramona.
Thank you so much, Amy. Talo falava, everyone. I am Ramona Sio, and I will be presenting the outputs of our works with the ADB WASH TA on behalf of Samoa Water Authority. Next slide, please. So this is the outline of everything that I will be talking about: who we are, what the data told us, our asset strategy, our asset management journey, our strategic plans and framework map, operationalizing our asset strategy, a quick look into our maturity assessment, as well as some key takeaways throughout this journey. Thank you. So first and foremost, so who is SWA and why it matters? So this dashboard clearly indicates who we are and the services that we deliver. We have amounts of water connections, our treatment plants, our water sources, our boreholes, and we serve about 90% of Samoa's population with clean and sustainable water and wastewater sources. Slide, please. So before I works with the ADB WASH TA, this is what we found out regarding our data. Some of the major issues which were identified include included high non-revenue water, the lack of data on infrastructure condition, as well as some of the data gaps. We found that we had little to no knowledge on asset management. And these were the areas that we needed to improve on. We needed efficiency, meter issues, as well as the implementation of good asset information systems. And at the time, our strengths at the time was we had asset register progress and strong teams, as well as community links. So here is a quick recap of our assets strategy. So we have our asset management policy at the top of the pyramid, which states that Samoa Water Authority aims to manage its assets responsibly to provide safe, affordable, and sustainable water and wastewater services, followed by our infrastructure asset management strategy, which is our version of a strategic asset management plan that highlights SWA's objectives with managing the life cycle of its assets. Then we have our asset management plan that provides a clear direction and guidance for the effective short-term and long-term management of our water facilities under Samoa Water Authority's control. And last but certainly not the least, we have our operational plans for each respective division that highlights their day-to-day works and their plans. Next slide, please. So here is our asset management journey. So these are the main outputs of our works with ADB Wash. In the year 2021, we were able to conduct our first condition assessments for our sewer pump stations, which were then utilized to create operational work plans for wastewater division in the following financial year. It was only when our condition assessments were done where we realized the state and the condition of our assets, which were not very good at the time. In 2022, we conducted our condition assessments for our wastewater treatment plant, which led to the creation of our first asset management plan for our wastewater division. Then came 2023, we were also able to conduct our first maturity assessment with the help of our good friends from Brief, which really expanded our knowledge on in asset management and all of its areas. So another operational work plan for wastewater was in place for financial year 23-24, which was informed by our asset management plan. In 2024, we were able to put together a final draft for our infrastructure asset management strategy. The condition assessments for our water infrastructure assets were done in 2024, which led to the creation of 2 asset management plans for our main island of Upolu and the big island of Savai. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is our strategic plan and frameworks map, which illustrates how all of the documents and the plans that we have created informs and connect to one another. So we have our infrastructure asset management plan at the top of the top, which informs our master plan, our project management framework that has our project selection tool, as well as our risk management framework. So our project management framework feeds into our infrastructure plans, such as the asset management plan, safety plans, as well as operational plans. Our SWA master plan and risk management framework guides all areas of SWA from human resource to support services down to our corporate plans that includes the performance that it is expected from each division through key performance indicators. Next slide, please. Thank you. So a closer look into operationalizing our asset strategies shows all the works that our technical advisor from ADB Wash has helped us with, which includes our business cases, the master plan, the creation of continuity plans for more informed contingency planning, our condition assessments, which all links into our asset management plan. Our asset management plan has helped us to transition into more scheduled or planned maintenance instead of reactive. And also it has helped us to plan timely renewals demand projections, as well as life cycle planning. Next slide, please. Thank you. So these are more visual representations of what we were able to gauge from the information in our asset management plan. We were able to forecast our maintenance expenditures and maintenance. Next slide, please. And we were also able to get a closer look into each respective operational division's renewal expenditures for the next 10 years, which will really benefit and help us in the long run to justify our budgets and plan wisely. So this is the result of our maturity assessment. Here we can compare our score from 2023 to our score done in 2025. So looking at this assessment, SWA has come a very long way with their asset management journey, and it does not only benefit asset management as a unit, but also the rest of Samoa Water Authority in terms of operations, support services, as well as management. Asset management success is a shared success. Next slide. We wouldn't have been able to come this far if it was not for our people, the combination of all the works that ADB has helped us with, the improvement of our information systems, and continuous capacity building, as well as knowledge management. Next slide, please. Thank you. We would also like to take this time to give a special acknowledgement to the WASH TA team that we have worked very closely with for a very long time now. We wouldn't have been able to achieve many milestones if it was not for your support. And also special thanks to Miss Christine from Brief for helping us with our maturity assessment, which really made us realize where we are with SWA's asset management and where we would want to be in the next 3 years or so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ramona. That is really very interesting. Forecasting maintenance expenditures is really very critical for planning O&M budget. So we're very happy that SWA has managed to do that through TA 6551. It is a master class in planning and resilience. All right, we go to the audience this time. What is, if you were managing water assets in your utility, what would you prioritize first? What would you prioritize first if you were managing assets in your utility? And any answer is possible, no answer is wrong. So please put your answers in the chat. If you were managing assets in your utility, what would you prioritize first? Drop your choice in the chat. Tell us why if you want. There's no wrong answer. Every priority matters. Our next stop is the Solomon Islands. From the Solomon Islands, we have Georgina Howe. Georgina is the WASH National Officer from the Solomon Islands Water Authority, supporting WASH activities in Greater Honiara and 3 provincial centers since 2020. Previously, she worked with Save the Children and Live and Learn as a WASH gender focal point for Water for Women project, and with the EU Micro Projects Office in monitoring and evaluation. She also contributed to the 2019 National Census and 2015 Solomon Islands Demographic and Health Survey. Georgina will share how national hand washing campaigns and wash training are making a real difference for the communities in Solomon Islands. Georgina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Amy, and hello everyone from Solomon Islands. My name is Georgina, and I'm working with Solomon Water, the water utility in Solomon Islands. So, yes, my talk this afternoon is just on the national hand washing campaign that had been implemented during the Pacific Wash TA. So the purpose of the WASH TA interventions are like to promote improved hand washing practices for Solomon Island and Solomon Water customers, and also as the Solomon Island as a whole. And also we also develop communication campaign materials for a national hand washing campaign, as I have said. as well as general wash improvements, and also to deliver and evaluate wash training that we have been conducted in the provincial centers in Auki, Tulagi, and Noro, integrating information and other health topics as well. And also to strengthen the working partnership with Solomon Water customers and NGOs, and also the key ministry, the Ministry of Health and Medical Services. So at the bottom, you can see some of the campaign materials that have been developed during the campaign. So we have some posters there, some stickers, T-shirts, some social stills to be put up on the social media, the radio jingles that had been played on the national radio, the FM stations, and then we use all these materials in all our hygiene promotions with the schools that we are working with currently, and also with some of the church groups that we are working with, especially the women groups. So the next slide is just the areas of operations of Solomon Water. So you can see there we have Noro, where we have around 560 domestic customers and also 81 commercial customers. And then we also worked in Auki, another provincial center, where we had 658 customers and 101 commercial customers. And also we work in Tulagi, another provincial center, where we had 250 domestic customers and 25 commercial customers. And then in Honiara, where it has a total of 16,349 domestic customers and 1,466 commercial customers. That's the operation of Solomon Water within the Solomon Islands. So for this Feel Fresh and Clean campaign, we had face-to-face awareness with women's church groups. We also involved in global hand washing celebrations. We had radio hand washing jingles on the radios and also the FM stations. And also we have these social stills going on the social media. And also we had billboards that had been installed along the main roads in Honiara as well. And so like the campaign also illustrate hand washing at critical times, which is very important, especially during or before and after preparing food, after coughing and sneezing, before eating, after using the toilet, and also after maybe touching or playing with animals. Next slide. So we also did the provincial wash training and also the evaluation of those trainings. So we had 3 trainings going in the provincial centers, 3 provincial centers, and you can see there on the slide, like the total men and women customers who attended our trainings for Tulagi, Auki, Noro as well. So, and some pictures of the training as well. Next slide. So the aim or objectives of this wash training is to help Solomon Water customers, especially to have or know basic water saving tips, water storage, simple household water treatment, water source protection, sanitation, hygiene, and other information for customers, especially on leak detections, reporting, know how to pay your bills, payment plans, all this, and the billing processes, the tariff rates, and all this information that are very important for the customers to know. And also some other information on topics from the Ministry of Health and Medical Services, mainly on the urban wash, the urban waste management, healthy village setting, non-communicable disease, NCDs, and also some topics on the pest control. So these are additional topics that are interested or requested by the customers as well. So for the hand washing campaign monitoring after the training, we did like the process is like a 1-day focus group discussions for separate groups, male and female. And then later on, we did a customer wash survey for the customers who visited the Solomon Water offices in each of these 3 provincial centers. So like the customer survey is like for the customers who did not attend our training during our wash trainings. And then for the evaluations, so we want to know the knowledge retention of the participants, the usefulness of the training, the behavior change, and some of the feedbacks that we want to hear from the customers, especially on the services that is provided by the water utility. We need to know the challenges, the issues that they are facing as customers of the Solomon Water Utility. So that's, yeah, and then for the provincial water customer survey it's mainly for the working customers, also to get feedback on Solomon Water customer care, to find out their knowledge on Solomon Water customer obligations and issues and challenges, as I said today, and also to find out their level of knowledge, mainly on hand washing at critical times with water and soap as well. And also to find out about the sanitation accessibility practices that they have in their own homes. So like for the customer walk-in survey, we had a total of 37 respondents for Aoki and 16 respondents for Tulagi and 14 respondents for Noro. Next slide. And these are some of the participant feedback on the training, like on the bill payment, one said that now I am up to date with my bill payment in order to avoid water disconnection and know that I'm confident in double checking my bill calculation when an invoice is received. So there are lots of feedback from the customers, and it's good that we hear from them, like what they are talking about, what they feel themselves as a customer of Solomon Water Utility. And then the other one said, I applied training by reporting the leaks around my community and the burst pipes. I was guilty during the training because of the unwise use of water, and my bill was very high. Now I can read the meter and pay my water bills according to the payment plan. Everything in the training was very useful for me. So that's some of the general comments or feedbacks that we had from the customers in the provinces. And then, there's a 2 graph as well, mainly on the feedback as well from the focus group discussion. So there you can see some of the topics that had been recalled by the respondents during the focus group discussion, during the M&E workshop. So it's good that we heard that the customers are coming back and recalling some of the information messages, topics that they have heard during the WASH training. And then, the focus group discussion, there is also the pie chart showing the respondents the usefulness of the Solomon Water training, mainly on the billing and debt recovery. So it's very good that we heard from the customers themselves, telling the usefulness of the training, mainly on the information as a customer to know, so that they can keep up to date with the information from the utility. And then also the other pie chart is the motivation level of the respondents, especially to apply knowledge after the WASH training. So you can see that 80%, 7%, and the other one is 3%. So we know that now they have the knowledge, even though before they attend the training, some of them
1
already
minute,
have the
Georgina.
knowledge. Okay, thank you. One they have the knowledge of doing proper hand washing, so it's good to hear from them as well. Next, and then also some respondent rates of hand washing with soap and water at critical times as well, and then the knowledge of critical times to wash hands with water and soap. So that's what the walking customer survey. So the key lesson learned there is like the customers have basic knowledge of hand washing, but not consistently practice good hand washing. Customers do not have hand basins near the toilet. Sometimes, and in many households, like there is no hand washing basin at the toilet or close to the toilet. And then customer engagement is very important, and consistent training to help Solomon Water customer build a relationship and maintain the relationship as well. And also customers still need more and clear information, especially on their roles as customers and what is the role of Solomon Water. So these are some of our key lessons during the M&E workshop. So I think, yeah, that's the end. Yeah, thank you everyone who we are part of this WASH DA. And also thank you ADB for the continuous support in supporting us, the water utility, and also to progress with the WASH programs and looking forward more to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Georgina. We are also looking forward for more to come. Amazing work of SIWA on behavior change and community engagement, also on gathering data that will inform future improvements in operations of SIWA. I'd like to turn now to our audience. One simple hand washing tip that you can share with the audience today, please put that in the chat. What is one simple hand washing tip that you can share with the audience today? For me, I try to sing happy birthday when I'm washing my hands. I'm not always very successful, but that is one simple hand washing tip that I can share with everyone. Finally, let's hear from Tonga. Last stop today is Tonga with Lopeti Tufui. Lopeti is a principal hydrogeologist with Tonga Water Board and manages its new water quality laboratory, overseeing analysis, data assurance, and method development for groundwater monitoring and treatment. He also leads key technical projects, including water safety and asset management plans, driving TWB's strategy for resilient water supply and infrastructure performance. Lupetti will talk today about advancing WASH resilience through water safety planning. Lupetti, we're all ears.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Greetings to you all. I'm happy to see familiar faces in our participants. And yeah, today I'll be talking about water safety planning. We started with our water safety plan in 2023 with Lisa Proctor and Mr. Dean Dale, and together with the WASH advisor Bronwyn. And we completed our water safety plans in last year together with Dean, and I'm happy to share the outcome of that work that we did. Yeah, so I'm sure most of us are well versed with the water safety plan. It's an approach by the WHO on making sure that we identify the risks associated with producing water and distributing water to our consumers. It's a living document, and by that I mean you have to update it every year. And there are major steps, 6 major steps that goes into this water safety planning. The first one would be the building the team, and 2 is to describe the water system, map out the production and the distribution to customers, identifying risk, planning and prioritizing, and then documentation. Next slide, please. So a little background about Tonga Water Board. Tonga Water Board is the main water utility for the whole of Tonga. We serve 60 to 70% of the population. So we don't serve all. We serve the main urban areas of Tongatapu, the main island, and Vava'u, Hapai, and Eua. We only serve the urban centers. And for this work, for the water safety plan that I'll be presenting, it's focused on Nuku'alofa only. We are yet to develop the water safety plan for the other schemes for Eua, Hapai, and Vava'u. We have on the picture there, that's the laboratory. That's the only picture of the laboratory that I managed to insert into presentation. I should have inserted more presentation of the testing benches and the equipment we got for the lab. But later on, I'll talk about that. Here's the map of our production system and our distribution system for Nuku'alofa. We have altogether 52 production pumps that produces water, and it's stored in 8 reservoirs. If you can see the connection point from the dots are the production pumps, and it comes into our reservoirs. We also have a solar plant that supplies electricity for our pumps for cost saving and renewable going green. And the blue lines are the distribution lines to all the customers in urban Nuku'alofa. Our very first production and reservoir system was constructed back in 1966, I think. So some of the tanks are still operating, but we see cracks due to earthquakes and other disasters. And yeah, it's not as old as some of the system in the Pacific, but it's quite up there. Next slide, please. So the scope, the water safety plan focused on the Tonga Water Board assets. There would be the pumps, the protection of the groundwater that is being extracted from the pumps, the reservoir, the treatment and storage and distribution to the system. And of course, leakages in the distribution lines and maintenance. Outside of that scope, private bores, rural villages, they have their own bores. All the villages in the rural areas and the outer islands, they have their own village water committees. They run their own system. And most of the household, they have their own rainwater collection system that collects water for household usage. And also the hospital and industries, they have their internal plumbing in their lots. That's outside the scope of the water safety plan. Thank you. A part of the water safety plan was a risk assessment workshop that we conducted. The good thing about this workshop is because it wasn't just the Tonga Water Board people. We invited people from the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Environment, the Natural Disaster Risk Management Office, and also the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. They have the water resources section, in which they are the water regulators. So it was important to get their feedback on what are the risks associated with not just the water that we are distributing and producing, but also for the country as a whole. Waste Authority was there as well, together with the ADB consultants. Thank you. So with the risk assessment workshop, this is the criteria that we used. The numerical risk, the likelihood from 1 to 5, and from rare to almost certain that is going to happen. And then the consequences, 1 to 5, from insignificant to moderate and catastrophic. And with that score, we see where Tonga Water Board is. And voila, here we have like extreme. If you go back, extreme means it's not safe to operate, never safe to proceed. So there was a very big issue for us. Next slide, please. There was a very big issue for us because I was doing this with Dean Taylor and Lisa, and of course our management. it was because of the tablets, that the treatment of our produced water. We tested in a few locations. We didn't find no residual of chlorine. So there was the main risk. If next slide, please. So this is the result of the risk assessment. The failure to dose the chlorine tablets to the reservoirs, resulting in no residual in our line. And we have an automatic machine dosing, but it wasn't functioning at the time. So, and also one other key issue that was identified, the type of tablet that we used. We used a thicker tablet. Thicker tablet is used for the pool water, swimming pools water, where it's exposed to the sun, and it's calcium carbonate, but you add the cyanuric acid to the water to make it stable, to last longer from the sun, evaporating the. So it was stable, and that was the one that we used before, and we identified that it's not safe for human consumption, and then we addressed that issue. Next slide, please. So this is the outcome of the recommendation and the findings from the water safety plan. A water testing laboratory, we identified that our old laboratory was not sufficient for the testing, and the tools inside. It was too small, it couldn't fit all the incubators, the filters, the spectrophotometer. So the board of directors, they've decided that we need a new laboratory to make sure that we test our water and to treat our water consistently, and to recruit more staff. We managed to do chlorine test weekly, daily to weekly, to make sure that it's treated properly, and we have residual chlorine to, in case there are leakages, they would like. But in most of the groundwater boreholes, they are generally safe for consumption. There's no contamination from bacteria and other stuff. That's our water. But as a standard, like an international standard, every water should be treated. So this was our main take from the water safety plan. Our new laboratory, replacing the thicker tablets with the calcium hypochlorite, and then recruiting the staff doing daily to weekly tests for not just chlorine, but other salinity, heavy metals, non-metals, metals, and other physical parameters. Next slide, please. So it was 2023 when we did the assessment of the residual chlorine with Dean Taylor. And then we built the lab last year. It was commissioned on the 8th of November last year. So we did the first anniversary 3 weeks ago. So, but we started doing daily tests, weekly tests, and monthly testing of our system. The x-axis is the endpoints in the distribution, and the chlorine concentration is on the y-axis. And you can see it's within the WHO guideline for residual chlorine. So there was, the management was so happy with that.
One
Next
minute,
slide,
Lupeti.
please. Yep. So yeah, that forward with our, we've already completed the approval process for the water safety plan. It's just updating the data, making sure that everybody's treating our water and submitting weekly reports to us. Next slide, please. So before the laboratory, we could only do tests, indicator tests for 4 parameters. But after the commissioning of the new lab and the new materials. We managed to do all these tests. Shout out to Danish. I saw Danish here somewhere. They supplied the equipment from Pacific Technology, but most of the equipment was from Hack, Australia. Next slide, please. So yeah, I'm just gonna touch also on asset management plan. I did this with Dean Taylor for the past 3 months, but we are in a very early stage of the asset management plan. We completed the asset register, conditioning assessment. We did a maturity test as well. We have developed a policy and a draft asset management plan. We just need a financial side of things. But this is the condition assessment. As you can see, the manhole cover, the red manhole covers, the houses need painting. The PS104, look at the house, is tilted a little bit. It's the cyclone effect. We just need to address that. You see the tap, testing tap, the air valves. Some of these are rated at 5 in the condition rating. We need to replace those. Some needs maintenance. Next slide, please. I think that was my last slide. Thank you so much. I think that was all from our water safety plan and asset management plan. Thank you to Bronwyn and Dean, Lisa, and ADB. Thank you, ADB, for the support. And yeah, thank you so much. Malo?
Thank you very much, Lopetti. Imagine doing a risk assessment and finding out that the treatment plant is not safe to operate at all. That's so knowledge is really very, very useful for us, and we're very thankful that we were able to work with TWB in preparing these documents and increasing resilience of the utility. Before we wrap up, we have some time for questions. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And our very, very helpful genius in the Zoom, Kate, will put 2 questions in the poll for you. The first question is, did today's webinar expand your knowledge, skills on the topics discussed? Please put your answer on the poll. And the second question is, did you learn something in today's webinar that you could use at your work? Please put your answers in the poll. That will be very useful for us, also to plan for other future webinars that we may be having. I would like to thank everyone. I'm trying to see if we have any questions. We do have a couple of minutes for questions. If you have, please come off mute. We'd be very happy to hear another voice aside from mine and the speakers. And so please come off mute. If not, if you're too shy, please put them in the chat box and we'll ask them out loud. I don't see anything yet. Please don't forget to respond to the poll as well. That will be very useful for us. All right. Okay. No questions? Going once, going twice. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget all of these webinars are recorded and we will be putting them up as we go forward. And don't forget to check out the links in the chat. Until next time, stay water wise and let's keep on making a difference. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.